We want to thank our amazing sponsor, the Rope Drop Queen herself, Michelle McKnight. She is a destination specialist with touring plans and can help you plan an amazing vacation. Whether it's Disney, Universal, a cruise, or an all-inclusive, she can help you with booking, planning, and strategizing to help you have an incredible experience at a great rate. Contact her today at michelle@touringplans.com. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney. And Doug, I am excited to start today's episode by announcing that we know when the next Rope Drop Radio trip will be happening, and it's going to be the biggest one yet.
It's a doozy, and we had no idea when we were going, and pulling the trigger on this was something, Derek.
It is.
Why don't you tell them when here's a drum roll.
We are going to Star Wars. We are going to go on to Star Wars. I was going to say Galaxy's Edge. We are going. There we go. It's a Star Wars hotel. We are going to be
Star Wars Galactic
Cruiser. Star Cruiser. There you go. You set me up and I wasn't ready, Doug.
Well, that's kind of the premise of the show.
That was. So, we're excited to go, and we're going over your birthday, which we didn't even realize until we'd booked it.
Yeah, I think I sent you like 5-6 dates and like, do any of these work for you? And the one that worked we check out on my birthday. So
it's gonna
maybe
be a good
by
birthday.
then we'll both be like Jedi Masters.
I
don't
hope
know.
so. I'm just excited to go. Like, it's not even going to set in for real until we get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I really hope they have some things that they don't let people film. They're just like, hey, enjoy the moment.
I don't want any spoilers. So we're going a month roughly after it opens, and it's going to be very hard to not see on the Twitter and TikTok and YouTube any spoilers. And this is one that I'm going to go and try and be spoiler free as possible.
My big hope is that somewhere in the role playing, it is kind of a new hope, is that we get a real lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, real one.
And at some point we get to cut somebody's hand off.
Oh, that would be great.
That's Star Wars.
Westworld style.
Right? Is that what this really is?
I really hope so. However, I will say, thinking about it and talking to my wife about it, I see this as one of those 2-year things. Like, all the Star Wars fans who have a ridiculous amount of money are going to go stay there. And then what's it going to, in like 2-3 years tops, Doug?
I don't know. Happen? Maybe they might have to mix it up, do like 3 night, 2 night, 3 night, 2 nights, or what. Something will have to change eventually, right? And I'm hoping the first couple weeks they get all the kinks worked out and they're
ready for us. That's why we
April
did Pandora 3 weeks after they opened. Remember that, Doug?
Yeah, it was. I don't even think it was quite that long, but they had the kinks worked out.
They did. Well, they had a lot of kinks the first couple weeks, and so I'm glad we missed them.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's excited. Our next trip.
April 14th, if you're looking to go star cruising.
We'll be there maybe a day ahead of time and might see you in the park. So there you go.
Never know.
Well, and the way we're going to pay for all of this is by our amazing Patreons. And we have a new one. Josh, thank you for joining the Rope Drop Radio community, getting the bonus episodes. In fact, today we're going to talk about What If, the newest Marvel TV show on Disney+. So if you have watched that, want to hear our review and take on it, and it's actually inspired this whole episode this week.
Whole show.
But that we'll be talking about that. But thank you, Patreon, so much for supporting our show and helping us go to our next Rope Drop Radio trip.
Yes, and we'll probably talk a little bit about some other Disney Plus stuff because tangents will be found.
Oh, absolutely. They always happen.
Yes, they always happen. So on to Apple Podcast reviews. Really, really appreciate everybody that's been leaving them lately, and keep them coming so I can keep reading them. This one's titled, You Won't Regret It. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people download podcasts and regret that.
Takes up space on the phone.
Right. It's a big commitment downloading a podcast. So I appreciate everyone that does. And it's by AZ Diz Fan. So I'm guessing it's an Arizonan Diz fan.
Hey, we like it.
Yeah. All right. When it comes to new Disney podcasts that I come across, I can be very picky, and it doesn't take me long to decide if it's podcasts I'll listen to. Within 5 minutes or so of listening to Rope Drop, I was hooked. Down to earth podcasters, info worth noting, and topics never disappointing. I always look forward to new episodes dropping. Keep up the good work.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So
Never a dull moment
thinking,
on the show for sure.
never a dull
Doug
moment.
set me up and just me blanking on names of things and vice versa and
Well,
everything.
it's not dull. Not dull.
No, no. But today we have a new idea and we're going to try something a little bit different in honor of talking about What If. Doug and I have been talking about that show off air for the last few weeks, and it gave us kind of some ideas of what if things happened or didn't happen in the Disney parks and community, how that would affect the world today. So we have a bunch of questions and we want to continue this on all of our social medias. So we're going to be asking you, our listeners, what if as well. So be sure to follow us at Rope Drop Radio and all the things. But Doug, we're going to start off with what if Walt never lost the rights to Oswald? What would have happened?
I don't think we have Mickey Mouse, right?
No, I agree.
I think that's Oswald, and then we get Oswald's friends next, right? We never even got to that stage of Oswald. So partner statue, it's Oswald. Maybe also Walt doesn't learn his lesson.
That's where I was going
right?
with it.
Oh,
Yep.
you go on that.
Oh no, I was going. He doesn't learn it. Like everything he learned from losing that is kind of what helped him build this empire and to keep the rights. And I mean, heck,
Overprotective.
Mickey Mouse should be public domain by this time already, and it's still not. So it's just amazing what this losing Oswald did to him. And we might not even have any of Disney World as we speak if he didn't.
You
lose
never
any
know.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. What if? Like maybe Oswald would be. Just a side note, nothing else would have happened. I mean, but the Mickey shorts kind of fueled the way to the Silly Symphonies, which then paid for Snow White, and that just kept the ball rolling and into the park. So it's very possible he goes a whole different direction with his little rabbit. It's also possible everybody's walking around wearing rabbit ears instead of mouse ears.
Could be. Oh, completely different world that would be.
Just drop right into that universe and be like, what's
That'd
on
be a
everyone's
great
head?
What If episode, Disney Park style. Here's another one. What if Walt would have lived to see Epcot through?
This one I don't know, because Walt, I mean, he came up with a lot of plans that didn't happen, right? If you listen to the Disney Dish and Jim Hill gives the history of the Haunted Mansion, it takes 7 weeks and you learn about 5 different projects that never happened so just because it was presented to be this city utopia thing, I don't know that it would have happened that way, right? Like, he threw a lot of stuff at the board, but not all of it stuck. I kind of feel like a little bit of the city would have happened, but I still think he also knew he needed a theme park to pay for it and hotels to pay for it and that sort of stuff. So I still think it might have been kind of like Future World with the city kind of around it or next to it, something more like temporary, like
I just know it
housing?
would not look like it is today. Not at all.
Oh, the World Showcase thing, I don't think would have they never would have pushed those two tables together,
No,
right?
he would have still pushed the corporate sponsors. So you could see something like Test Track and a few of those. But yeah, I think there would be a lot more living quarters. Honestly, my thing with it is I was thinking it'd be more like a Disney Springs, but with a lot more hotels and restaurants and activities and stuff like that. But I don't think it'd be exactly like what he originally imagined with the city, but it definitely wouldn't be where it is today, especially where it is today.
Housing wise, I think where it would have ended up is he would have built like R&D facilities that then like Chevy would have come and used or other, and then after the World's Fair. So right, he does like all those things for the World's Fair. I think that starts the ball rolling. Like, that's kind of where the World of Motion came from too.
Yep.
And so I think that would have progressed into that version of Epcot where it's half R&D, corporate housing for the people doing the R&D. People can come in and learn from those companies doing the R&D, and then also, hey, look, we have a ride.
A couple meet and greets, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, maybe our third park would have essentially been a World Showcase park. A whole park.
Who knows? That would be awesome, though. Yeah, it's just, who knows what it would look like today if Walt was still around? That question gets asked all the time. Would Walt do this? And honestly, we don't know. We really don't know.
I don't think what was on the board at that time in the 60s would have happened.
Yeah.
Even if Walt lived, another decade. Now, Epcot probably would have happened well before the 80s.
That's true.
I think the dust settles at the Magic Kingdom and he's bulldozing, moving swamp around, starting his City of Tomorrow. But in what form, we don't know.
Exactly.
But I think it'd be a lot of like corporations, R&D.
He did like those corporate sponsors, that's for
Hey,
sure.
if someone else
Wants
can
to
pay for him to
it, yep.
experiment,
Done.
we'll do it.
So
there
all right.
you go.
Next one is, what if Universal never builds Harry Potter Land? So this would go a couple ways, Doug, because
Yeah.
JK
What's your
was
first?
well, JK was also shopping, Disney, and we
Mm-hmm.
hear about that kind of lackluster idea they had. But you know what? It's one of those things where they got the rights, and it was really amazing what Universal did with all the press and the media, and did a phenomenal job. I mean, park capacity went up 50%, and which helped get Diagon Alley and really makes those a player, like a legit player in against Disney. And so that pushes Disney, of course, to do Pandora and Galaxy's Edge. So I don't think we get those two attractions the way they are if Harry Potter Land is not built.
Right. I think you're right. I think what it really did was definitely wouldn't have any Avatar in the park.
We had already bought. I think we would have, because we already bought the rights.
I was right after it was about to open. I think that fueled the James Cameron deal.
Was it? Okay.
I think so. I think that was like the, oh crap, have you seen this down the street moment? They bought it and announced it right away just to like, hey, look over here. But I think like Star Wars, instead of getting the immersive land that we got,
We would have got a couple more Star Tours types attractions. Yep.
Right? With the halfway built like corner of a park land. Kind of like we had lands before, but we don't. The Galaxy's Edge is a whole different take. Pandora has a whole different take on a land, right?
Yep.
I think it would have been like, maybe Hollywood Studios would have like space theme area and other theme. They would have done it some way else, but I think you're right. It drove the immersive land.
Well, the fact that they went so far and above and beyond at both Islands Adventure and Universal Studios with those lands, it just really fueled the Imagineers. And the rumor is, you heard, like they went and all toured them undercover, and are like, we need more money. We need more money for Galaxy's Edge stat.
Yep. The one thing that surprised me that we haven't gotten at Disney World is an attraction that requires a park hopper. Because Universal's just
that train.
in the money.
Exactly. And you have
With
to.
one attraction, you have to buy the park to park. So, come on, Disney. Let's sell more park hoppers.
Do that. Oh, that's going to be that'll be a question for our community.
It'd be Epcot to Hollywood Studios.
Well, of course,
right?
That's the only one you can do it with.
Like Morocco to the Tower of Terror.
But what kind of attraction?
You'd have to build
a Skyliner. Okay. All right. What if Bob Chapek doesn't become CEO?
This is the most loaded question of the whole show.
Also,
Even more
I'm going to
so
follow
than
this
the
up with a
Walt
follow-up with, what if Bob Iger doesn't become CEO? Let's do both Bobs.
Ooh. I didn't mentally prepare for that, Derek. Well, if Bob JPEG, as my family is now calling him thanks to the live streams, never becomes CEO, we get less merchandising, because that's where he came up through, is merchandising. So we have a guy running the company that's background is merchandising. Just remember that. With every decision that's made, is made with merchandising in mind. So let's look back to last week's episode where we talk about the morning of the 50th. He's there. Does he talk to everybody? Does he say hello? No. But are there virtual queues to get in line to go buy things? Yes. He came up through merchandising.
I don't think we have Disney Genie and Lightning Lanes. If he has
I don't know. I could see that with any CEO, because it's going to make money.
Okay.
At a certain point, you have to make money. He wasn't in charge for Max Pass.
Okay.
Right? That was previous Bob that I would have had to have the wheels turning on that. That couldn't have been Bob JPEG all the way. But I think I think the attention to customer service, and by customer service, I mean the lip service of thank you for coming, is more realistic without JPEG.
Mm-hmm. I
I'm
agree with
never
that.
going to say JPEG again, am I?
Nope, you've already
JPEG just
you
comes
even wrote
off.
in the outline wrong, and I almost messed up when I said it. So,
I wasn't wrong. I wrote that wrong on purpose.
yep.
So then what do you think?
With JPEG,
JPEG. Yeah.
uh, I like I said, I think lightning lanes. If they're there, they're farther out down the road. Um, it's one where it seems so money focused, and just right now it feels like wherever they can grab an extra nickel or dime, and that's something that I feel like has gotten worse with every CEO. And so maybe
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have as many money grabs right now, and the slight price increases on everything, of course. So yeah, I just don't know. I was preparing for Bob Iger because
Oh,
I was
well,
too many Bobs, by the
a
way.
lot of
Man, I have the
Bobs.
wrong
They were
name.
both there for the 50th. Both Bobs.
Yeah,
I wanted to hear the Bobs talk. Kind
someone
of
for
like Office
sure.
Space. I want to have a meeting with the Bobs.
Yeah, because when I was talking to you, I was like Bob, but Iger, I don't think that guy. We wouldn't have Marvel. We wouldn't have Star
No.
Wars. I think we would have a Disney Plus type thing because I think that was the direction, no matter what they were going. But it wouldn't
Yeah.
look like what it is
I'm
right
worried
now.
they'd be starting it today.
Yes, I would think it'd be called Disney Vault, and it would just be all the
Oh,
vaulted stuff. They wouldn't
yeah.
push new streaming services without Bob. I think we would have Pixar eventually. I think that was going to happen no matter what, but that was Bob's first thing. But he really went after Marvel and Lucasfilm and a lot of technology for streaming and stuff like that. So he definitely did some great things. Not everything in the park, but he definitely did some things to make money out of whole. I mean, that thing's just cash cow for them.
He still added significantly to the parks. We got a lot of new lands. He redid Fantasyland, which you could
Yeah, I
argue
forgot that was under
wasn't
Edgar. Okay.
wasn't something that we had to have, right?
Yep.
If Fantasyland had been left untouched for 20 years, nobody would have really complained. But adding it added so much to the Magic Kingdom, one in capacity, so they're less likely to shut down on New Year's. And it just added more options. It reinvented the character meet and greet. So without him, I think Fantasyland still just sits there where 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is at. It's still just a playground,
Mm,
right? And an
yeah.
empty field. So that was not something like Star Wars or Galaxy's Edge, because once he bought Star Wars, the question was immediately, well,
Where
when's
are
it
we
going to
going
be
to
in the
put it?
park?
Yeah.
Where are you putting it? And with Marvel, it's like, where are you going to put it? That took longer to get that out in California. But, it. I think that's kind of one thing. I don't know. Do we see Pirates of the Caribbean without Bob Iger?
Yeah.
Do we see that kind of film that integrated the parks into it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know where that decision came in the studio, but that was kind of a unique decision when you
Hmm.
first float that idea out there. I know when I heard it, they're like, based off the ride? A movie? Really?
And now we're
So
getting Muppets Haunted Mansion. So it's come full circle on that.
it is. It is full circle. And like Jungle Cruise wouldn't have happened without Pirates of the Caribbean, and it
Yep.
was fantastic. Enjoy that one. Look forward to the next one and see what river
Hey,
they're
they
cruising
announced a
in.
new one today.
Did they?
Yep, it got
I
announced.
Man, I did not spend
New
enough time on
location.
social
Yeah.
media.
So
So a
excited.
different river? Did they
Yep.
say which river?
No.
Cripes.
So all right. Well, I mean, we could dive into that one quite a bit,
The
but
Bobs.
the next one is the big one that let's not spend too much time on. But what if COVID never happens?
My first thought is we're already writing Tron,
Oh, absolutely, without
right?
question. And Guardians
I
would
don't
be.
know
I think
because
Guardians would be pretty
the
close to
the
opening.
James Gunn thing hiccuped that,
That's true. But they
right?
would
So
already be
that
filming it.
they would have filmed it sooner, I think.
Yep,
Because, but yeah, we'd be writing Tron.
for
I
sure.
think that's the
Actually, I
easiest
still don't understand why we're not writing
thing.
Tron.
The same reason we hadn't written Ratatouille until October.
Yeah.
There was no reason. It was basically, I remember when we went on spring break in 2020, we were hoping for maybe catching a soft opening of Ratatouille.
Yep, I remember that.
Like there was hope of that. And then we didn't write it for a year and a half. Whew,
Yeah. Things I
that's
don't understand. But going back to Universal, Universal's like, hey, we're going to announce something, and then they can start writing it the next
epic.
day.
Yeah. Another thing with if had COVID not happened, we would have gotten another. I think it was DVC Resort Reflections
Yep.
over there between Fort
It was
Wilderness and
funny. They
Wilderness
got all that
Lodge.
land cleared, and now it's just kind of awkward. So I wonder what's going to
It's
happen
just
with
like
that.
it made the shoreline look awful,
It did. It
basically.
really, they got to do something
Yeah.
with it. They will.
So it's prime real estate. It's the next place they'll build, I think.
They have. Absolutely. Yeah. I would have been on 2 cruises that I lost out on because of COVID.
I don't even know how many cruises I
I'd be closer. Well, I wouldn't be gold yet, but I'd be
not
closer.
gold.
Yep.
Gold.
Um,
Gold's a magical color on the
it,
Disney Cruise Line.
I'm sure
There,
if
I tell
COVID
you.
doesn't happen, I probably don't get a DVC contract though. So I try to think positive.
Here you go.
So, but yeah, I don't know what the Disney community and the parks and everything. If we'd what it'd look like, that pot pies would still be there for Michelle,
There
I'm sure.
definitely still be pot pies.
The
We'd
dining
have.
plan, I mean, I miss that thing, but it's like, would we still see the Disney genie and stuff like that right now?
I don't know.
Would we,
That's a great one. I
would
don't
there
know
be
that we
lightning
would.
lanes? I mean, because they would have made money all through the no pandemic, so they
And
wouldn't be doing things like
and
this.
it's hard to change things while they're working,
Exactly.
right? But when things are ground to a halt and there's red on the ledger, it's really easy to say, let's change this. What
Yep.
do we have to lose? Like, would we still be getting complimentary magic bands? That's back to the Bobs. Bob Iger magic bands was his baby,
Yep.
and then Bob JPEG
Why would we give
is
this away
like,
for free?
why are we giving this one? Let's charge $50.
Yep.
So even though they've proven when you're wearing a magic band, you spend more money, they've proven it. So it's crazy not to give it to at least the adult in charge with the pink code.
Exactly.
Like,
Things like that just blow my mind with the
like,
management.
yeah, like JPEG's more concerned about selling the magic band than giving it out and making the money back on the back end of the vacation.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sums that up in a nutshell. But I think we still get the. What about Magical Express? I think it
I think
still
it's
goes away.
I think it's going away. I think it was with
Even with
Lyft and Uber. It was only a matter of time. Would have gone away this quickly. I think
maybe
maybe
not.
one more year, but it has gone down exponentially over the years, and now I guess it's well gone. It's gonna be gone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, but it's just like it was gonna go. Heck, I
Yeah.
was on it and they didn't even play the video, Doug. So I was disappointed in that.
It's weird days. Weird days. I mean, we only have a couple months left of Magical Express, so get your last rides in, folks.
There you go. I'm not gonna make a special trip down
And
there to get one in.
no, and the thing is, Magical Express was designed to trap you on property,
Yep.
but with Lyft and Uber, you're no longer trapped.
Also, I missed the
So
minivan.
the minivan,
I don't.
I don't know if that would have survived either. Like it's business, it was so expensive compared. It worked for you because you needed car seats,
Yep. And they
right?
carried car seats. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
you always knew they had, and you knew it would be a clean car seat.
Yes.
Like the Ubers with car seats, you're like,
The
I
only
don't
time it
know.
made sense was going from Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom.
Absolutely, because Magic Kingdom parks right by the bus drop off.
It
And
does.
that was fantastic.
It was the
Taking
only
it,
time it made sense because
yep,
Lyft
to and
the
from.
Uber is the same exact price, and now I'm getting car seats and kids there.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom, whenever you want one, it's always surge pricing from the contemporary. But so, and yeah, that's almost all the minivans should have been doing was picking up and dropping off at the Magic Kingdom.
That's smart. There you go. All right,
But
maybe they'll come
miss
back. Maybe
those.
the next Bob will
Anything
bring that
else,
back.
COVID?
Oh,
You
I'm
think
sure there's a bunch of things. I mean, how
we've
does
been
it do?
seeing?
Does it get rid of happily ever after? Does it,
I think so. I think they would have done something
for the 50th, no
for
matter
the
what?
50th anyway. I feel like that would have been a thing, because Harmonious was coming anyway.
Yep.
That was already. It was just Harmonious come sooner, probably. Hard to say.
Mhm.
Was Rivers of Light get retooled? instead of just dismantled and set out back to rot and decay? I don't know.
Again.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, hurry to see Kite Tails before it's gone.
Yeah, I'm actually loving everyone who posts things
It's
about
still
Kite Tails
going.
on.
Despite
There's
us
one
seeing it
now,
day
right
one, we're
now.
like, this
I
doesn't
laughed
show tomorrow.
hysterically. Can't remember where I saw it. It was on like Twitter or TikTok or something. Just like it was WWE, like it's a clothesline. Like they have them running into each other. So Kite Tails keep running, and someone's like doing all these like wrestling things in the background, and I laughed out loud hysterically, and yeah, makes me wonder how long these things are going to be there.
It's the gift that keeps giving until the kites are too damaged to fly.
Yeah, some of them already broke altogether. Like they don't even have them all anymore.
Or someone gets really hurt on a jet ski. That's the other.
Yes.
OSHA's going to come and be like,
exactly.
Nope.
All right, next
All right.
one. I love this one. What if George Lucas never sells Star Wars to Disney?
I don't think we have another trilogy already.
Nope.
I don't think he had the gas in the tank to make it. I think he continues to farm out small projects, animated projects. That's all we would have had was what Dave Filoni could make in cartoon format.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think that's all we would have gotten.
Yeah, I don't think we would have got
Just
another
disappointing.
trilogy, which is annoying because everyone's like, he should remake the trilogies himself, blah, blah, blah.
No.
No.
You saw Phantom Menace, right, folks? Like, he did that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, we wouldn't have Mandalorian. We wouldn't have things like that. It would have been more of the same. And
I'm
I have
not
no
saying-
idea where Galaxy's Edge. I mean, we wouldn't have that theme park, not
Nope,
that land.
definitely not.
I don't even know what would be there. I don't even think anything. I think it'd still be lights, camera, action, and
You know, the only positive I can think of with this one is we would still have Star Wars weekends at Hollywood Studios.
oh yeah,
And Mickey and gang would still dress in
dress
Star
up. I
Wars.
love that. Yep.
Because once Disney bought it, they're like, nope, that's too confusing to put one character we have in another character's costume. Like, have you not seen what you do with the Marvel characters on the ships? But hey, so that's one weird thing. But there you go. Star Wars weekends would still be a thing, maybe.
All right, that's a
And-
good one.
As flawed as the new trilogy is, there are flaws, but there's some wonderful storytelling in it, some great visual effects, some great new characters. None of that happens without that sell. And Disney made all their money back quite promptly.
Quickly,
Just in
one
Ronto
movie.
wraps.
Oh, and in Ronto Raps. But yeah, I'm loving what's going on Disney Plus, and in a few years we'll look back and chuckle at all this.
And we will mention the latest Star Wars edition on Disney Plus in the Patreon show.
There you go. Good shout out. So, what if we still had a nighttime parade, Doug? I only can barely now remember at this point a nighttime parade.
I
Figment of my imagination.
can tell you, if we still had one at the Magic Kingdom, it would be a disaster of people. The reason it went away with Happily Ever After is because they predicted people were just going to sit there for 2 hours and wait for Happily Ever After, which they did. Did the crowd ever dissipate? Not really.
Nope.
Like people started camping out earlier and earlier. And so doing a parade was only going to attract the crowds and congregate. It wasn't fun sometimes doing the nighttime parade. Do I love the electrical, Main Street Electrical Parade, Spectral Magic, Paint the Night at Disneyland? I always wished was going to move to Disney World. It was amazing. But the Magic Kingdom, I don't feel like can handle it now. Too many people in the Magic Kingdom compared to a decade ago. There's just more people. I think we're even back to that point now in the parks. Not September. Don't look at September numbers. September is always low. But I would love to see a nighttime parade at Hollywood Studios or Epcot around the World Showcase.
That would be
Something
a great idea.
different.
Yep.
Right? They probably don't need Epcot right now because of Harmonious. But also seasonally during the winter months, you could do an Animal Kingdom because you don't have a nighttime show. Why not do a parade? You had a parade route.
Oh, it was great. Still one of my favorite parades.
Yeah, and so I think a nighttime parade somewhere else would be spectacular.
Yep, and help draw away from the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Now that Harmonious is new, so hopefully that's going to help balance.
Well, and
But
eventually they're going to bring back Phantasmic. They're working on the theater and
they need
everything.
it,
Comes out
yeah.
soon, and
They need it to balance because right now, what's stopping people from hopping away from Hollywood studios to either of the other parks to catch fireworks? Absolutely nothing. And let me tell you though, if you want to do Smuggler's Run over and over, that last hour of Hollywood studios being open is
it's
phenomenal.
weird.
It's empty.
I don't like
No
it.
reason to stay.
Yeah.
Although they started doing movie magic again, but is that a reason to stay? I don't think
Nah,
so. It
not
was like a
really.
halfway pre-show to fireworks
Yeah.
before.
I
Let's
enjoyed it
think
the
about
first
that.
time. Like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while. I should catch that one again.
It's like, oh yeah, so they're adding Mulan. Thanks,
Yep.
great. It's not worth changing your itinerary for.
Mhm.
I would go on the attractions with the short waits rather than stand around and watch movie magic. But I it needs a nighttime parade. Like I remember those as kids, or as a kid. I wasn't a kids. I was a kid, being just like amazed and like you see a float, you can hear the theme song to Spectral Magic like in your head, just the Baroque hoedown, I believe it is, just going. And I miss that.
Yeah.
I'm glad my kids got to enjoy it when they were a good age for watching those nighttime parades. When there were still nighttime parades, your kids were probably way too little
Well, and
to
the last time we were
enjoy it.
there, we saw it once, but it got rained out.
Yeah.
So I
So
remember we sat, and my kids were probably like 4 and 5, and we sat and waited and waited and waited, and they said, "Oh, there'll be no nighttime." And so I did Space Mountain with like zero weight, and then came back. But I was bummed because I don't think my kids ever saw it.
yeah, it's tricky when they're
Yeah.
little. It's late and it's dark and they get crabby. And if you're there in the summer, it's even later. If you're there in the winter, it can be earlier. But yeah, I miss them.
All right.
I don't want to see it again at the Magic Kingdom though for a long time.
Okay. Here we go. What if, I love this one, we have a third domestic Disney park location? It's been rumored for years. We've almost
Yeah,
had one in the America,
St. Louis and
St. Louis,
what,
and
Gatlinburg or
the
no, up in
Williamsburg
Virginia,
area.
Williamsburg.
Yep.
Not Gatlinburg.
Disney's Americana or whatever it was. And
Yep.
the one out
They're-
in St. Louis, the one in Missouri, they had a couple
Yep.
locations picked out for that. And it just thought it'd be too regional, like they'd have to shut down in the
Well, they
winter.
have to. It snows.
Yeah.
It's pretty unpleasant for a while in the Midwest. Not gonna lie.
Now, anytime I go to the Mall of America, I just think, why couldn't you just build this and then fill it full of Disney things?
Right? I had that same thought while I was there. It and it'd be weird if. But my guess is if we had a third one, it'd be in Texas, right?
I still
They
think
wouldn't have.
Missouri.
I don't like Missouri that much. Come on, Derek.
It's still
Let's not give them
closer.
a
It's
park.
closer than Texas.
It is. It is. But it's Missouri.
I don't know. That's where Walt was
Trying to
from.
offend
Come
all
on
our
now.
Missouri fans here. No,
Isn't your
I don't
favorite
know.
football team from Missouri?
They are my professional. Yes, they are in Missouri.
Yeah, okay. Just
Named
clearing
after a
that up.
different state. Yeah, Kansas City is in Missouri, just FYI. But yeah, I think it'd be in Texas if we had a third one. They got the population to support it, and you have the year
I
round.
don't think that's an
weather.
issue. I think you build it, they will come when it comes to Disney
That's
stuff.
true. That's what they did with Florida. But you know how the CEOs work. They want to make sure they're going to make money. They put it somewhere with people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'd be weird though having a third. And do you think they just build a third Magic Kingdom, basically? Because I mean,
Well, I love what so looking back at the blueprints for that Williamsburg, like Disney America thing, which it was such a mess, but I do love the idea of it being something completely different. And I would kind of hope that they would draw from that. Maybe have a couple familiar things, like maybe a Pirates or something, or some sort of take on
Yeah.
Small World, but at least try to shoehorn a few new E-ticket, D-ticket type things that draws you to going to that park.
I think if they built one now, there'd be zero chance it wouldn't have a Main Street USA with a castle at the end.
Yeah.
Because it's just too proven, right? They want to make sure it succeeds. So that would be my guess. But that would be
One attraction that
weird.
neither of the other parks have. So Shanghai
To have
Pirates type
something.
thing.
Yeah.
That is what, bam, moneymaker instantly. Everyone who's regular at Disneyland, Disney World is all beelining to wherever it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Wherever it is, Missouri or Texas.
Minnesota, once the Mall America goes under, they just gut it and make it into a Disney thing.
It
IKEA's right there,
literally
so it
is a
can,
mall.
yeah.
So it's ready.
Already-
It's ready to be empty. Spirit Halloween's probably in half the stores.
It's in one. I was just, been there. It's there. Yep. It's great, actually. I love that Spirit store.
Well then. All right.
Good one. All right, here we go. What if Disney bought DC?
Oh.
They bought Washington, D.C.
No, I was thinking the comic
I was
books.
being sarcastic.
Okay. Well, that would be cool if they bought Washington, D.C. That would be a whole nother thing. But so we wouldn't have.
They wouldn't have Marvel and DC, so this would have been before the
had to
Marvel
be-
deal.
It'd be so weird. I would know my DC characters better. Would they have made the first Green Lantern canon with Ryan Reynolds? That would have been a real question.
Yeah.
That thing was awful. What weird, obscure characters would they have had to find to make a whole movie about so they could put them in a park without, infringing on Six Flags
Yeah,
rights?
I was going to say, theme park rights, Superman, Batman do go to Six Flags, and a couple of
They're
the other
all
ones
over,
are,
yeah. So you would have that same problem, right? Your
And
most
by the way,
popular
this was
characters are taken.
discussed when Islands of Adventure opened Marvel. So this isn't something new that Doug and I are discussing. This was something as we go back to the Universal thing and the What If. Disney really was like, oh my gosh, this Spider-Man ride, which is still phenomenal. They're like, how do we bring a superhero thing into this?
Yep. And so that's part of why we got Guardians of the Galaxy movies, is because they couldn't just use Spider-Man, the most recognizable Marvel character there is. Iron Man, really not that popular.
No, he was a B-lister. And so, yeah, we were lucky
Disney-
that whole movie is a what if come to life.
Right? It really landed at just the right time. They bought it at just the right time. And then we're able to just branch off that way. And then now they're finally getting Spider-Man in the movies and in the park out west. We'll never see him at Disney World, but
Don't never say never, Doug. Though I still
Not
feel
in our
like
lifetime.
Galaxy's Edge is, or not, Guardians of the Galaxy is shoehorned into Epcot, but that's a different story.
whole other. But it would be weird with Superman, but it would have been the same thing, right? We would have, they would have had to find the B-list heroes and villains. Well, not really the B-list villains, but the B-list heroes, and gone and created movies about them,
Yep.
made them popular, and then put them back into the parks. They would have had to follow that formula. And I don't know DC good enough to
Booster
know.
Gold, Blue Beetle, there you go. Getting a few of those B and
Wow.
C. Green Arrow, maybe. He got popular in the CW, though, but that was before.
Yeah, and I mean, just because they're on the old CW doesn't mean they're in a theme park, right?
That's correct. Yep.
So they had to be, with Marvel, they had to already be in the park when they bought Marvel. And so Black Panther is in one painting in one gift shop. So Universal has the rights to Black Panther, and they can't add anything Black Panther, but Disney can't either because of one picture. So that's how tricky this is.
And there's an army of lawyers that have been working on it for a decade, and we still can't figure it out. So what if they figured all that out in the next 10 years as well?
No, I don't know.
So, all right. Final question. What if, Doug, you and I never started this podcast?
No, when you threw this one at me, I wasn't sure. I don't know.
I'd be really bored one night a week for
really
sure.
bored. That is for sure. Michelle wouldn't get her alone time on Tuesday nights when we record.
There's no way I've gone to Disney as many times as I had in the last 5.5 years.
Same here.
We would continue our once a year Disney trip instead of now you and I going, me and my wife going, me and the kids going. Now it's 4 trips a year.
Plus some cruises.
Yep. Now we still would have got, because we already booked a cruise. I bet we still would be in the cruise thing. cruise window.
Yes, because when we started the show, you had just
Booked my
booked.
first cruise. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to think both of us would have found a way into some sort of Disney medium with podcasting or YouTube or something. I think
We
we
both have
both,
faces for radio, though, so I don't know if YouTube would have
right?
been
My
right.
YouTube channel would have failed
Yep.
miserably. I think we both would have tried something, but
Maybe.
who
Yeah. Who
knows?
knows?
Because I think it's more therapeutic for us to talk every week about Disney than anything else.
That's true. Well, and
So,
especially people right now who are listening, who we've met in the parks and message us and talk to. I mean, daily basis. I probably
gosh.
talk to at least one of our listeners on something. And so just that alone has been just a humbling and phenomenal experience. And so I would have missed all that.
I don't know who I would text all the time.
That's true.
I text you a lot, and then like random text
Who would I have
about
as a dentist?
that's really concerning.
That is.
I mean, it's almost like you have no options in Lincoln.
I really feel like I don't. I had a couple ones I didn't like. You came up at the perfect time, both as a podcast partner as a dentist, because I was looking for a new dentist.
Fantastic. Yeah, be interested. We would have missed out on our rope drop trips.
Mm-hmm. Those have
That's
been
for sure.
great. And
Who knows if I'd be going to the Star Cruiser. I don't know if my wife would have allowed that.
I think I would have, no matter what. But it wouldn't
Maybe
be
not
in
month
the
and a
first
half
month
in.
Yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
6 months to a year in for sure.
Right? Be like, let's see if the price goes down. Which also, if anybody ever says that about a Disney commodity or something they're going to do, no, it's not. There's only one direction Disney prices go.
Up.
That is up. Unless it's
Like
merchandise that goes to
Bitcoin.
the character outlet. Bitcoin goes lots of different directions, Derek.
I wish I would have bought Bitcoin 5.5 years ago when we started this podcast.
Well,
there you
that's
go.
what a podcast should have been about. We just bought Bitcoin
Missed
instead
out.
of taking Disney trips.
Yep. Would have invested all that money, but yeah, it's been a wonderful experience. So I'm glad we did. So
I am too.
not a what if that we have to think about.
No. Ooh, but the watcher is watching.
Yeah, in a different universe, we started this. Maybe we have different podcast partners.
Ooh, maybe we're like rival podcasts.
Rivals. Ooh, that'd be a
that
good one.
blocked each other on Twitter or something.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, I doubt that. But
No,
I haven't blocked many people, so it's hard to imagine.
I've never blocked anyone ever.
I only block people that send obscene things.
Eh,
It's weird. Why would you send that? You're blocked now.
good point.
Yeah. So, that's Twitter, though. Yeah. That's a big what if.
That is
Those
a
are all
big what
fun
if.
what ifs.
They are. So, and we want to hear from you guys. What ifs did we miss? This might be a fun one that we want to come back to on a Patreon show or another bonus episode. If you guys have some what ifs that you're like, oh, this is one I've been always thinking about. And also, we're going to ask a few of these on social media this week. So prepare to chime in on yours, your what ifs. And then, Patreon, we're going to be actually talking about the show What If, because now I'm tired of saying that word as many times as I have. So thank you, patrons, for supporting the show. If you want to be a part of that, then you'll have to click that in the show notes. And if you want to experience Walt Disney World to understand what you are missing in this universe, you'll have to contact Michelle McKnight, the Rope Drop Queen. Her email is in the show notes. She will hook you up with a quote and get you going around the parks, and then maybe you can join Doug and I on the Star Cruiser, or even like the day before, or maybe the day after. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah,
It's
we still got some
about
time.
6 months away.
Yep, cannot wait. 6 months, and then
It's almost exactly 6 months away.
is it really? Wow,
Yes.
that's crazy though.
From when this comes out.
It will
it's
go
6 months away.
It will go 6 months. It goes slow and fast at the same time. So I'm
Yes.
excited.
Guess what we don't have to do 6 months in advance? Make dining reservations.
Oh, yay.
That's pretty insane to think about, right? We were making that so what if we only had to make those 60 days out?
Still
came
can't
through?
get an ADR for Ohana to save my
No.
life. Yes, so I fail at that. Anyway, there we go. That is all the time we have for this week's What If episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to Rope Drop Radio.